So the play is called A Bitter Pill. It's about fabricated and or induced illness, and that used to be called Munchausen Syndrome by Proxy, so you may have heard of that before. The audience we will be inviting in will be made up predominantly of care professionals, those who work in the care sector, perhaps GPs, nurses. We'll also be inviting teachers along as well, so those who do work with children on the front line who may come into contact with this in their professional lives. This play seeks to raise awareness and to kind of invite these care professionals to think about what it might look like, how they might identify it with the children that they come into contact with, and how can they best help them. Another thing that the play seeks to achieve is to act as a bit of a rallying cry to basically say, look, you need to do something. If you spot something, even if you're just unsure, even if there's a niggling doubt, this is what it potentially looks like. Go and do something about it. The priority is absolutely the child above anything else, and that is essentially the main message of the play. I would say, despite the dark themes, it's a relatively fun piece. There's lots of comedy, there's audience interaction, there's improvised music, and it's relatively light throughout the piece. And it will be funny until you come to the realization where you go, oh, actually, what have I just been laughing at? This is not funny. This is, wow, how you'll probably ask yourself, how did I miss that clue? And in that sense, I'm also inviting you to enjoy the performance, but think about what these clues might look like. The audience interaction in the piece is designed in a really specific way to heighten the empathic connection between audience and protagonist. The way it's designed is basically to put the audience members literally in the shoes of the caregiver. By doing that, by putting the audience in the shoes of the caregiver in the role of Lucy's life, in the protagonist's life, they feel that relationship with the protagonist. They are there physically experiencing that, and so hopefully they can then take that experience away and apply it to their own lives in the real world. One of the devices that we're experimenting with in the play is the use of imagination, and specifically inviting the audience to actively use their imagination in the games that we are playing. And the reason for that, the purpose for that, is that it mirrors some of the perpetrator's behaviour in the fact that the audience will be playing with this imaginary scenario. They are reacting to something that doesn't exist, which is very similar to what happens in these case studies where a doctor or a nurse or a teacher might react to something that doesn't exist, but the mother has, or the perpetrator, should I say, has created it, has fabricated or induced it. And so the use of imagination mirrors what's happening in these real case studies. One of the other things that the play is doing is experimenting with the use of music. So in my research, we've been looking at music therapy techniques, matching and mirroring, and we've kind of implemented that into the dramaturgy of the piece. And we have an improvisational pianist on the stage as one of the characters, and the pianist will be responding directly to what the protagonist is feeling. And the idea there is the pianist is trying to empathically connect to the protagonist, feel what she's feeling, and respond through music to express that, to narrativize that. By having the pianist respond directly to what the protagonist is feeling, and then the audience can connect to that themselves as well. So everybody will be sharing that emotional experience. We have some really interesting project partners working with us on this production. We have the NSPCC are offering us some support. We will be having a professional, an expert in fabricated induced illness working with us in the rehearsal space, and kind of fact-checking what we're doing, making sure that we're going in the right direction, and that the work is reflective of the current understanding of this behaviour, which is really exciting and I think will be really useful. We also have Mind, who are helping us promote the work through their channels, through their networks of professionals who might benefit from experiencing this socially engaged play. We also have a number of social workers who will be coming to the rehearsal space with us. and kind of just share their experience, and we're going to kind of absorb that and use that experience to amend the script, and that will reflect in the final production, the final performance. So this is an R&D, and so it is a research and development performance. It's experimental, so we're playing around with it, seeing what works. If you would like to come and see this play, we will be at Hull Truck Theatre in the Godber Studio on Saturday the 10th of August. We will also be performing at the Caxton Theatre in Grimsby on Sunday the 11th of August. That's where we'll be.